What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crypto Sherpa Show, where I cover the latest cryptocurrency news articles to keep you up to date on what is going on in the space. And I'm sure you're hearing what's happening. Like, what happened? Bitcoin was at $60,000 last night, but we made a recovery back up to like 70,000. Right now, Bitcoin's at 69, but sometime, what was that yesterday? It was at 7:20 p.m. Bitcoin dipped all the way down to $60,074. So crazy, but then it had a quick rebuttal back up. So was this the true bottom? Did we actually touch the 200-week moving average? Well, we didn't, but some exchanges actually did because who was it? BitThumb. They made an error, like a fat finger error. South Korea's BitThumb airdrops 2,000 Bitcoin to users. So South Korean crypto exchange BitThumb mistakenly credited around 2,000 Bitcoin to hundreds of users after an operational error. A staff member reportedly intended to send a small 2,000 KRW reward, which is $1.50, but accidentally selected BTC as the current unit. Now, that impact was immediate. Recipients rushed to sell the unexpected windfall, triggering a flash crash that pushed Bitcoin's price on BitThumb nearly 10% below the global market level. So that kind of was then a 55,000 price, which did hit the 200 week. So technically it did, but it wasn't the true one. But the incident is a sharp reminder of the operational risk tied to centralized exchanges, where internal controls and human error can still move markets. It also comes during a volatile period for Bitcoin. And BitThumb is already under heightened regulatory scrutiny, facing potential multi-billion-dollar fines related to AML compliance issues flagged by South Korea's financial intelligence. So that did happen yesterday, a little mistaken airdrop, fat finger, but again, that happens on the centralized side. So if you're playing with exchanges, it's all human run. It's not just code. Unlike Bitcoin, decentralized, no single person or entity runs it, the code runs it, so no errors there. So yeah, just the big differences between really looking into something that's centralized and decentralized, rather than just the coin and price itself. But that took place yesterday. We also had a bunch of buy and sell news in Bitcoin. So again, like the title said, weak hands going to stronger. But apart from that, we have JP Morgan saying that Bitcoin now looks more attractive than gold long term. So people's minds are changing. They're saying this out there, but is the narrative changed yet? But this is bullish news. It's nice hearing the big guys say, yep, let's get some Bitcoin. But what is going on with the price? Now, here's another little short piece. Bitcoin has been declared dead 461 times. If you invested just $100 each time, you'd have 68.322 million. Because I'm hearing this a lot too out there. Bitcoin's dead. Why does anybody want to buy it? But Bitcoin's been called dead so many different times, and we know it's not. And someone just had to clarify if this was true by Grok AI. And let's see. Yes, the claim is approximately true. Trackers like Bit99 Bitcoins list 477 Bitcoin deaths, while others report 462. But investing $100 each time would total 46,200 to 47,700 invested, which at today's prices now would be worth $66 to $68 million at the current price. So just saying. So thanks for the math there. But yeah, every time you start hearing this, like the bottom of the news or the narrative, like we're getting to like the worst of the worst. So nothing to fear. Just like these are just great opportunities now, because historically when Bitcoin touches the 200-week moving average, it's historically the best buying opportunity if you look at the chart. And I went on tech. I even pulled this up like today. Historically, buying at the 200-week moving average has been a very good. I trust math, but be prepared for more pain. Don't nibble if you can't handle another potential 30% drop. So even though we touched the 200-day moving average, still be prepared about like there could be 30% more on that, or just nibble away at it. But this is usually the turning point. Like
I trust math. I love math. I love math. Historically, buying at 200 week is very good. Okay, you see here. Sometimes it can go lower, but historically it's very good. So I trust math, but still, we can have more pain. Okay, so it has to be for the long term. Often people will convince themselves they are only to puke the eventual. Exactly. So whatever you nibble here, you cannot puke it out once, in case we go 30% lower. Okay. You cannot nibble the cookie and in case we have another capitulation candle, which may happen.
So just saying, just because like we hit the 200, or if we did hit the 200 week, BitThumb did on that platform, don't expect a quick V churn. Like still expect a 30% drop, but start just nibbling on it. You taste that deliciousness. Okay, I'm holding, I'm buying at the bottom. So so don't go all in and get shaken out if like there is another 30%. Just able to do 10%, 20% until finally the whole narrative's changed and everyone's saying buy, because that's what we're really waiting for the price to move again, if we're just focusing on price and not what Bitcoin actually does. But yeah, so that's going on there. Let's talk about the companies who are still going to be buying and who's actually selling. So we have Japanese MetaPlanet, the Bitcoin treasury company, and his CEO says we are still steadily continuing to accumulate Bitcoin. Nothing stops this train. So these guys are still buying. Who's selling? BlackRock just deposited another 4,248 Bitcoin and Ethereum to Coinbase Prime. So are they really selling the Bitcoin? This is like they've been continuously doing. Are they selling it, or are they just trying to shake out the markets? Just usually when they do move it, it is a sign. And usually when anybody moves Bitcoin to like Coinbase Prime account or something like that, they sell. So who knows if this is a shakeout or if they're officially if they're just moving it to shake out and then pull it back. So we'll have to see on that. That one country out there that just came out under the radar, Bhutan, sold some of their Bitcoin stats. Bhutan transferred 22.3 million in Bitcoin to the market maker QCP Capital this week, dropping its holdings from 13,295 Bitcoin in October of 2024 to just 5,700 Bitcoin, according to Arkham Intelligence. So this country offloaded quite a bit, at least that's almost 2/3 of their stash, just a little under. It's not exactly 2/3, but it's around there. So they quietly got rid of that. Well, not really so quietly. They did move it off. So these two guys are just like moving on, whatever, why they're doing it. Don't know, is it strategy or not? Can't tell. All I know is if they did actually sell it, it's going to the bigger hands. We got Binance adding another 235 million in Bitcoin to its Seifu fund. Last week, they did $100 million purchases to the Seifu account to backing up, like we saw the 4 days ago. There was $100 million purchase. They acquired 1.3 thousand Bitcoin. And then 2 days later, we had another 100 million buy where they acquired 1.31. And then today they acquired 3.6. They literally doubled their buys on that. So yeah, so these guys are still buying. They're stashing away for their treasury. And then there's a lot of word out there. Michael Saylor's losing a lot of money. He's in so many losses. Like same with Tom Lee from Ethereum, but I prefer following Bitcoin more. But again, like Michael's strategy is not selling. They had their Q4 call yesterday, and I definitely want to rewatch this. But we do have an article talking about what he did say. So what is the actual breaking point for MicroStrategy? How low can Bitcoin actually go before they would have to sell? Well, this article will cover it. If you want to get the full piece, watch the Q4 statement for the strategy, which you can find on Bitcoin Magazine's YouTube channel. But let's hear what Michael Saylor had to say during that video. So MicroStrategy clarifies the true breaking point. What happens first in a Bitcoin collapse? So MicroStrategy finally reveals what would be its breaking point as Bitcoin price drops. So during its latest earnings discussion, MicroStrategy CEO Phong Le said that a 90% decline in Bitcoin's price to roughly $8,000 will mark the point where the firm's Bitcoin reserves roughly equal its net debt. So they're saying like really Bitcoin can drop to 8,000, which is highly unlikely to ever happen. It's like what, 99% like it's not going to happen. There's still that 1% you can't close it up, but this is really unlikely to happen. So we can just take the fact that as Bitcoin's dipping, MicroStrategy is not going to sell, and they're just going to keep accumulating no matter what still. And people may argue, it's like, well, nobody's got money. What money are they buying with? They're a company. They got other sources of revenue coming in to buy it, whether it's also they're using it to sell stocks and move balances around. They have the ability to buy, just saying. But at that level, the company would likely be unable to repay convertible debt using its Bitcoin holdings alone. As a result, it may need to consider restructuring, issuing new equity, or raising additional debt over time. Now, leadership emphasized that such a scenario is viewed as a highly improbable one and would unfold over several years, giving the firm time to respond if the market deteriorated significantly. Now, they said specifically an extreme downside, if we were to have a 90% decline in Bitcoin's price to 8,000, which is pretty hard to imagine, that is the point at which our BTC reserves equal our net debt, and we are not able to then pay off our convertibles using our Bitcoin reserve, and we'd either look at restructuring, issuing additional equity, issuing additional debt, and let me remind you, this is over the next 5 years, right? So I'm not really worried at this point in time, even with Bitcoin drops, said Lee. Now, meanwhile, it is worth noting that Lee remarks come only months after Strategy's executive admitted a situation that would compel the firm to sell Bitcoin. As being crypto reported, Phong Le cited a Bitcoin sell trigger tied to the MNAV and liquidity stress. Now, speaking on what what Bitcoin did, CEO fondly outlined the precise trigger that would force a Bitcoin sell. So first, the company's stock must trade below 1 times the MNAV, meaning the market capitalization falls below that value of its Bitcoin holding. And second, MicroStrategy must be unable to raise new capital through equity or debt issuance. So this would mean capital markets are close or too expensive to access. Therefore, the latest statement does not contradict Fondley's earlier position, but adds another layer of risk. Now, is there anything else to this article? Let's see. There's massive Bitcoin exposure comes with large losses. So Strategy remains the world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, reporting 713,502 Bitcoin as of earlier February 2026. And the company acquired the holdings at a total cost of about $54.26 billion, according to its fourth quarter financial results. However, Bitcoin's decline during the final months of 2025 significantly impacted the balance sheet. The firm reported $17.4 billion in unrealized digital asset losses for the quarter and a net loss of $12.4 billion. Now, this highlights the sensitivity of its financial performance to market swings. And at the same time, Strategy continued to raise substantial capital. The company said it raised $25.3 billion in 2025, making it one of the largest equity issuers in the US. Meanwhile, they also reportedly built a $2.25 billion USD reserve designed to cover roughly 2.5 years of dividends and interest obligations, with executives argues that these measures strengthen liquidity and provide flexibility even during periods of market stress. Now, Bitcoin volatility brings the risk into focus. So the disclosure comes amid heightened volatility in crypto markets. Bitcoin traded near $70,000 in early February before extending successive legs lower to an intraday low of $60,000 on February 6th. So that was this morning at 7 o'clock. Now, this shows how quickly price movements can reshape the outlook for highly leveraged treasury strategies. Now, Strategy's capital structure relies heavily on debt, preferred equity, and convertible instruments used to accumulate Bitcoin over multiple years. While this approach has amplified gains during bull markets, it also magnifies losses during downturns. Now, drawing increasing scrutiny from investors and analysis, which we see all the time because they're really pointing out that $17 billion loss, and then they just keep making them question. It's like, oh, well, like, what's going on? Like, is he going to sell? Like, I think he has to. That's a lot of losses. So, like, that narrative is just going out there so much, but again, they understand the risks that come with it. They know that during the long run, their big hold's going to continue doing well. But during these downturns, yeah, it's going to experience losses, but they only lose if they sell, or they just do it strategically because we don't have the wash sell rule with Bitcoin. It's like they sell it, they can take on that debt loss for a certain amount of taxes. I'm not sure how much out there, but they can use this to their benefit. They can do it strategically. So again, I'm sure they got a plan on it, but they understand the risks when it comes to this. But Saylor doubles down on his long-term thesis. Elsewhere, Executive Chair Michael Saylor reiterated his conviction in Bitcoin despite recent losses, describing it as a digital transformation of capital and urging investors to hodl. And again, some people out there meant to see, like, go, oh, he's just trying to cover his boots. He's scared. He's got to get the other people to buy in. Because again, a lot of people out there think that Bitcoin only goes up because people buy it. It's only because like the high price people are selling to the weak. Like that's all they see it as. Like they don't think Bitcoin can move on its own. They don't think Bitcoin has any other value behind it. And they just don't understand it. Michael Saylor gets it. He sees the transformation happening. So again, it's like you just can't teach that to somebody. So I'm just done arguing with those guys who just don't get it. But Saylor and other executives argue that Bitcoin remains the hardest form of money and that the company's long-term strategy is built around holding the asset indefinitely rather than attempting to time the market cycles. So the firm has also expanded its financial engineering efforts, including scaling its digital credit instruments and preferred equity offerings, according to the management, and these are designed to reduce volatility and diversify funding sources while continuing to accumulate Bitcoin. Now, investors split on the risks ahead. So I think this is going to be talking about MicroStrategy stock. So market reaction to the earnings disclosure and downside scenario has been mixed. Supporters argue that Strategy's massive Bitcoin reserves, ability to issue equity and multi-year debt maturities provides sufficient flexibility to navigate even severe downturns. But critics, however, warn that the prolonged bear market could still force difficult choices, potential risks cited by investors, including shareholder dilution, pressure on the capital structure, and the possibility of selling Bitcoin if funding conditions tighten. Now, the company is currently facing a whopping $7.3 billion loss on their Bitcoin investments at Jacob King, but for now, Strategy appears committed to its high conviction approach. However, by acknowledging that its Bitcoin reserves would merely match its debt, the company has made clear that even the most aggressive corporate Bitcoin strategy still has a theoretical breaking point, one defined not just by market prices, but by the limits of leverage itself. So that's how it is. So that's where MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor stand. They're still committed. They believe there is a breaking point. If it does reach that level, could take years to get there. But again, can it even hit this? I don't think it will at any time ever again, 8,000, because that would go lower beneath the last dip we had, which touched like $15,000, 16. I don't think Bitcoin will ever touch 8,000 ever again. But again, that's just what I think. It's not facts. It's not financial advice. This is just just the facts and news out there. So that's my thoughts on that. But that's what's been going on with people buying, selling Bitcoin. And yeah, so this weekend's going strong. And the ones who are committed and actually understand Bitcoin's values versus just caring about the price, they're going to stick with it. And MicroStrategy or Michael Saylor definitely gets it. The CEO from Metaplanet gets it. And a bunch of other people as well get it out there. But these are the two main articles we got. Oh, even JP Morgan, didn't say they were collecting it, but they were bullish on it for the long term. Oh, and CZ. So again, these guys are just going to quietly accumulate still. Not so quietly since they're always in the news, but they're just going to keep accumulating. But we can't disclose the people who are quietly accumulating out there, not saying a word. They're just adding it, and we can only see it on chain when it happens. So that's our MicroStrategy and the ones who are buying Bitcoin news. Now, again, today is just going to be really all about Bitcoin news out there. I don't have any altcoins space articles for you, but let's continue on with banks and crypto now. So could they offer similar products in time? Well, Scott Bessent talked about this earlier. So yeah, U.S. Treasury Scott Bessent says that banks and crypto may begin to offer similar products and pledge to prevent deposit flight concerns that are stalling a key crypto bill. So let's find out. So U.S. Treasury Scott Bessent has told Congress that the traditional and crypto banking products and services may be more intertwined in the future. Appearing before the Senate Banking Committee on Thursday, Bessent was asked by Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis whether there could come a time when conventional banks and crypto are offering the same types of products. Now, I think that can happen over time, Bessent said. We've actually been working with small and community banks to discuss how they can be part of the digital asset revolution. Now, Bessent tells those resisting regulations to move to El Salvador. So Bessent said it was impossible to proceed without crypto having clear rules and said that the industry should back the crypto market structure legislation, dubbed the Clarity Act, and that's before Congress. Now, we have to get this Clarity Act across the finish line, and any market participants who don't want to should just move to El Salvador. Wait, so is he pushing for what they have? Because the last viewing of the Clarity Act, we saw like Brian Armstrong from Coinbase really looked into it, and it wasn't so favorable to like exchanges, platforms. It only favored the banks. They didn't want. So I don't know if they made any changes. I'm not sure if he's still trying to push this over the finish line as is, which us in crypto do not want that to happen. But he's saying like those who don't want any participation in it should just move to El Salvador, where they're already crypto Bitcoin friendly out there. And so, but are they stablecoin friendly? That's what I don't know. But yeah, so I'm trying to see where Scott Bessent's mind is on this one right now with the same, like, is he for it? Is it good? Let's just continue with the article. Now, we've got to bring safe sound and smart practices and the oversight of the U.S. government, but also allow for freedom that is crypto, Bessent said. I think it's balancing that is being worked out. Now, working to prevent bank deposit volatility, the crypto market structure bill has stalled in the Senate Banking Committee as bipartisans talk over inclusions in the bill and are at a stalemate. Lawmakers push to add restrictions on stablecoin yields, like I was just saying, that some crypto companies, notably Coinbase, had resisted. Now, Bessent said that the deposit volatility is very undesirable because it is the stability of those deposits that allow banks to lend into their communities. Now, we will continue to work to make sure that there is no deposit volatility associated with this, he said. So, okay, so he said, are they working to get rid of that one part in there that nobody liked? But several crypto companies reportedly offered concessions this week, suggesting giving community banks a larger role in the stablecoin system to just help push the bill through the Senate. Now, Cointelegraph is committed to independent, transparent journalism, and this news article is produced in accordance with Cointelegraph's editorial policy and aims to provide accurate and timely information. Readers, again, are always encouraged to verify information independently. Read our editorial at Cointelegraph. So, yeah, if you really want to see it, watch the entire video of that speech and like the discussions they had over there. Because again, we're just reading outlines of the articles for what they claimed it. But if you want the full source of the video, like I was saying, if you want to watch the MicroStrategy quarters call, listen to it, because now you're getting straight facts from them, not just a piece highlighting what took place over there. So it's always good to do both. Get a little highlight what happened, and then that way when you're watching it, you can go, okay, you know what you're looking for when they're going to say it. But that's what's going on with banks and crypto, and Scott Besson said they could be very entwined in the future, definitely serving similar products. And again, it just always comes to, do you want to play ball in the centralized side or the decentralized side? Centralized side has some fat thumb fingers like we saw with BitThumb, could make a quick little error, and then yeah. But decentralized, it's all run on code, don't really have to worry about it, you just know it's going to work, and just make sure the network's still secure. So that's banks and crypto offering similar products. What else do we have in the news? Oh yeah, so I'm not sure if this is a negative news article, kind of, because we have a Bitcoin Core developer, Gloria Zhao, quits her maintainer role after a 6-year stint. A 6-year stint? Oh, I was about to say straight. So yeah, so one of the core developers, Bitcoin Core, retired, quit, but yeah, she stepped down and revoked her PGP signing keys. So let's hear what happened here. So Bitcoin Core maintainer Gloria Zhao has stepped down and revoked her PGP signing key after 6 years as one of the project's most influential mempool and policy engineer. So, why did she leave? Now, Bitcoin Core developer Gloria Zhao has stepped down as a maintainer and revoked her pretty good privacy, which is a PGP signing key, ending about 6 years as one of the project's gatekeepers. Now, on Thursday, Zhao submitted her last pull request to the Bitcoin GitHub repository, removing her key from the trusted keys and withdrawing herself as one of the few maintainers able to update Bitcoin software. Now, becoming the first known female maintainer in 2022, she focused on mempool policy and transaction relay, the rules and peer-to-peer logic that decide which transaction get into nodes, waiting rooms, and how quickly they propagate across the network. And here is Gloria Zhao's Bitcoin maintainer role on the GitHub. But she has also helped design and implement package relays, so the BIP 331 and the TRUC, the topologically restricted unit confirmation, the BIP 431, along with upgrades to replace by fee, the RBF, and the broader P2P behavior, making fee bumping more reliable and reducing censorship. Now, Zhao's work was funded through Brink, where she became the organization's first fellow in 2021, with her fellowship backed by the Human Rights Foundation's Bitcoin Development Fund and Jack Dorsey's Spiral, formerly Square Crypto, placing her among a small cohort of publicly supported, full-time open-source Bitcoin protocol engineers. Now, beyond her technical contributions, Zhao mentored new contributors and co-ran the Bitcoin Core PR Review Club, helping junior developers learn how to review complex changes and navigate Core's conservative review culture. Now, why did she leave? Well, I guess there probably was a split over the OP_return and NOTs debate. So her resignation comes after more than a year of public disputes between Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin NOTs, and the removal of OP_return limits, a fight over whether Bitcoin's default node software should make it harder to use block space for non-monetary data. So basically, like, do we want the runes and like those smart contracts on Bitcoin's network, or like keep it where it should have been, just transacting like the cryptocurrencies? That's it, 'cause that's all it could handle. So that was a big debate going on, and part still is going on right now. But in 2025, Zhao deleted her X account amid personal attacks during the OP_return war after a live stream in which a core developer questioned her credentials. Now, while some Bitcoin Core critics celebrated Zhao's departure, others took a more somber tone. They bullied her and made her life as miserable as possible until she rage quit. And quite frankly, I think what they did to her was tragic, said pseudonymous Bitcoiner Predator. Now, Predator added that it set a terrible precedent and called it sad and pathetic. So congratulations, you finally did it. You bullied one of Bitcoin's Core's most prolific and consistently excellent maintainers until she gave up, said Chris Cedar, the co-founder and CEO at Bitcoin wallet backup company Cedar. So yeah, so she's leaving. Was she bullied out? And like, where does this go further for Bitcoin Core? So we just got to wait to see, because again, there's a lot of debates on the Bitcoin Core. Knots both run the Bitcoin blockchain out there. Some prefer the knots with bigger space, some prefer the core, and there are some changes going on with the core too, which some people don't like. So there's a lot of stuff going on within the Bitcoin internally. Not internally, but the ones who can govern the code, make some changes, working on, make sure it's secure. Some of these guys out there, it's just lots of stuff's going on right now, and very interesting times though. This is taking place too, with the price dips and just the narrative. So again, I can't tell if this is really a fun news out there. Is it really going to affect that price for Bitcoin, or I don't know. I really don't know. But I just want to share the facts with you for what's going on in Bitcoin's life right now. All the facts, good, bad, in the middle, doesn't matter. If it rolls on Bitcoin, I want to share with you, and that way you guys can come with your own conclusion. So what do you think? Do you think this is bullish news or bearish news? Is it good for Bitcoin's core development team, or is it bad? Let me know in the comments down below. But let's continue on with the news. So what else? That was kind of again, I don't know if it was bad news or good news, but let's make this a news channel where we go from good news to bad news. Let's go back to good news. So the next good news article we have is Virginia is advancing its bill in committee to establish a state Bitcoin fund. So woo, some good news. So Virginia lawmakers pushed forward a proposal that would allow state funds to be invested in Bitcoin. Now, Virginia lawmakers are moving forward with a proposal that would place the Commonwealth among a growing number of states exploring direct exposure to Bitcoin and other digital assets through public reserves. Now, this is Senate Bill 557, and it was patroned by Senator Reeves, and it would establish the Commonwealth Strategic Cryptocurrency Reserve Fund, a special non-reverting fund housed in the state treasury and administered by the Virginia State Treasurer. The measure advanced this week after passing the Senate General Laws and Technology Committee in a 13-2 vote. Now, under the legislation, Virginia would be authorized to invest state-held funds directly into Bitcoin or other qualified cryptocurrencies, creating what supporters describe as a strategic reserve designed to modernize treasury management and position the state for the future of Bitcoin and digital finance. Now, the bill lays out detailed framework for how Bitcoin reserves would operate, all funds appropriate for the purpose, along with any Bitcoin and cryptocurrency purchased or received, would be credited into the reserve. So notably, the proposal also accounts for assets that may be generated through blockchain events, such as forks, or distributed through airdrops, ensuring the state retains ownership of any derivative digital holdings. So unlike many state accounts, the reserve would be non-reverting, meaning funds would remain in the reserve at the end of each fiscal year rather than returning to the general fund. Now, SB 557 includes guardrails intended to limit speculative exposure. Any cryptocurrency purchased using reserve funds must have maintained an average market cap of at least $500 billion. That's pretty similar to the other ones out there. And it must have held that for over a previous 24 months. So it has to be over the market cap for over $500 billion for the last 2 years. Again, this is kind of similar to all the other ones out there. So they're following suit. Now, this is a threshold that effectively limits eligible tokens out there other than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin only meets its qualifications. Now, the Treasury would be required to manage investments under a prudent person standard, balancing diversification and risk minimization. Now, the bill also permits the use of derivatives if the Treasury determines they serve the best interests of the fund. And to address security concerns, the legislation authorized the Treasury to contradict what third parties and entities, include qualified custodians, that employs secure technologies such as cold storage, as well as regulated liquidity providers to facilitate purchases and asset management. Now, the Treasury may also commission independent audits through certified public accounts, and in addition, SB 557 would establish a 5-member Strategic Cryptocurrency Reserve Advisory Committee, including members with expertise in digital asset investments to provide guidance on valuation methods and investment policy. Now, the bill mandates transparency through its biennial reporting. By December 31st of each even-numbered year, the Treasury would publish and submit a report that detailing the amount and an estimated value of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies held, and that changes over time and management actions taken. Now, the U.S. states have been embracing Bitcoin. The proposal comes amid growing interest from U.S. states and municipalities in incorporating digital assets into their public portfolios, reflecting a broader trend in cryptocurrencies adoption and financial innovation. We have South Dakota recently introducing the House Bill 1155, which would allow the state to invest up to 10% of public funds into Bitcoin. Earlier this year, Rhode Island lawmakers introduced Senate Bill S-2021 to temporarily exempt small Bitcoin transactions from state income and capital gains taxes with a $5,000 monthly and $20,000 annual cap. And the bill treats Bitcoin as digital, decentralized currency and allows residents in Rhode Island-based businesses to self-certify eligibility while keeping simple records. Now, the exemption would take effect on January 1st, 2027 and expire on January 1st, 2028 as a pilot program to reduce tax friction on everyday Bitcoin uses. Now, another state is New Hampshire that actively championed Bitcoin. In May of 2025, New Hampshire became the first U.S. state to allow its treasury to invest in Bitcoin and other large cap digital assets, authorizing up to 5% of certain public funds to be allocated into the crypto under the House Bill 302, which BTC currently qualifies under the market cap rule. And so, the U.S. is embracing Bitcoin. It's like, I know we would hope that would happen all at once, but this is a slow process, and we are making headwinds now. Like, again, like from Bitcoin starts to now, it's just crazy where we're at. So people who still claim Bitcoin is dead, not going over, it's like, are you not paying attention to the news of this worldly adoption? Eventually, price will catch up to it. Right now, everyone's just so focused on that price part, but not actually realizing and focusing on the actual beauty that's happening around the world. From adoption, people making their own strategies, states embracing it, putting in rules for reducing capital gains tax on. It's like the changes are being made right now, and us as Bitcoiners and the crypto community just continue to support it, push it, and educate the public on just this technology and how great it is and how it's life-changing. Like, it's truly freedom money out there right now. It's transparent, it's hard cap, can't be manipulated. Sure, the price can be manipulated for whoever holds a coin, but again, there's only 21 million Bitcoin, so play around with it as much as you can, because eventually we gotta have those long-term strong holders that are never selling, and they won't be able to manipulate it as much again. So that's what I believe in what's going on. And again, you just got to focus on the basics of Bitcoin. Why are people actually getting into it? It's not just about price. It's about actual changing of the future. So yeah, just continue doing your education and keep learning and keep following the news, because this will keep you up to date on what's happening, the changes going on, and it'll keep you informed on when someone asks you a question. It's like, actually, no, this has been going on. You must not be paying attention. So just stay up to date, keep learning, and we're just going to keep stacking our Bitcoin. Now, final news article. I don't really need to cover this news article, but again, wrench attacks keep going on. I always like to cover some type of scam attack, what's going on, But a UK teen gets jailed after a $4.3 million wrench attack robbery caught on police video. So police video shows Sheffield teens posing as delivery drivers to steal $4.3 million in crypto at knife point from a London flat owner. Okay, so this happened in London. Usually these take place in France, which I think we've seen 27 different attacks happen. But okay, so this is something to be aware of, though. So again, scams happen any way we can. So we got people pretending to be delivery drivers out there. So we just always have to be on high alert and just be aware of our surroundings. But again, 3 teenagers have been jailed following a wrench attack they stole $4.3 million worth of crypto at knife point. Video released by Metropolitan Police on Thursday. The trio were shown posing as delivery drivers to gain access to the flat. Ooh, can we play it? Let's see. Force the victim to have corporate. They also stole his car? Oh, dang.
A few moments later.
Cops got him. Busted. This is like a pursuit. Wow, look at them go. Ooh. Yep. They're screwed. They ain't getting away. They are not getting away. Good. Get them, coppers. Get them. Yeah, I hate people. I hate thieves out there. People shouldn't steal any money from people. It's not right. We're all struggling. We're all working as hard as we can just to make in this world. But yeah, people who karma's is going to get you. You do something bad, it's going to catch up. So they were sent to prison for a combined total of 16 years. So crazy. So yeah, the victim recovered within 72 hours and returned 2 weeks later for Metropolitan. So this is at least a beautiful thing where the victim did get his money back. It took 72 hours, but then it was returned 2 weeks later. So 2 weeks of not having your money, but to never gain it back. Bravo. So good job, Metropolitan Police out there, keeping the streets safe over in London. Keep up the good work. And again, we gotta be friends with the police officers. They're just doing their job. Again, some may be bad, but it's not all of them out there. Like yesterday, I got I didn't get a speeding ticket, a warning, because I didn't notice the school zone area, but just be polite with the officers. They're just doing their job. I didn't notice it. It's like, oh, hey, officer, oh, here's my license, here's my insurance, here's my registration. My insurance was expired, so I had to pull the one on my phone, which was accurate. But no, we were done in 10 minutes. None of this, oh, I know my rights, here's my ID. Like, just don't do that. If you want to just continue your life smoothly, thank the officer for doing their job. And just because, again, they get so much hate out there as well. But these police officers for returning that crypto money, bravo, kudos. Good job at doing your job. I love it. But that is it, though, for all the crypto news I have for you today. Bitcoin is now at $71,000. So we are pumping again. Like, again, are we done? I don't know. We are still in extreme fear territory. Like, we're at a 5 right now. This is how people's emotions are, probably because that $60,000 dip. But again, we recovered 10,000. And actually, where have we been gone this week? Let me go to the weekly chart. Because, yeah, how long did this take? We were at 70,000. Let's see, on the 5th. Yesterday? No. Were we here yesterday? Okay, so basically, yesterday's losses, we made back up. But again, we'll see where the market's going. Let's take a look at the technicals. Let's see, summary saying sell. So we were taking a look at the chart. Oscar is telling buy right now. And then moving average, still strong sell. So again, we got 2 sells with 1 buy. I don't know. This could just be a quick little bounce. Could be our recovery back up. I don't know, but again, nobody knows the future in crypto. Just all I see it as is every time there's a dip, it's a great buying opportunity. That's all I can say there. Stock, because again, only if you're planning on doing it for the long haul. If you're just trying to get price movement, get that fiat side up, don't buy. It's find something else to do it on. Go gamble, do something else. But if you're actually committed and actually want to buy solid assets that will hold long term, yeah, every time there's a dip, take advantage of it. And that's all I really have to say there. But everyone, have an awesome Friday. Love you guys. One comment, Randy, Crypto Patriots. Great seeing you here, Randy. Love it. But everybody, have an awesome Friday. Have an awesome weekend. I'll be back on Monday with some more crypto news. I hope the price keeps going up by then. And I would love to come back saying, oh, Bitcoin's at 75. So I really hope we do have that and not a more downward trend. So I'll let you guys know. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys on Monday.